Anytime that you embark on a new path and a new teaching, especially when you're going deeper into the spiritual teachings, this fear arises of losing what you currently have. This fear arises of losing the current way of living. And actually, just yesterday, I was doing a coaching call for my program members. And on that, a question arose regarding the fear of loss, which reminded me of how often this question gets asked. Because just the other day in the YouTube comments as well, a mother was asking about, when I go deeper into this teaching, I'm a little afraid because I don't want to lose the ability to love my child or have the connection with my family members, which I value so deeply. And these fears are themselves a manifestation of the mind, which is so hardly trying to keep you in identification. And although these fears seem silly once you have overcome them and transcended them, while these fears are arising, they are all that is real. And they really, you buy into them, you subscribe to them, you believe in them, and you continue to just contract back into your old way of being, which is actually still painful. So today I just wanted to take a couple of moments to share with you a couple of times this fear of losing everything has arisen in my own experience, not just with spiritual teachings, but even in general, things that I've embarked on in life. So I'll start off with something simple, and then I'll go to the more recent times, and we'll talk more about it deeply. I remember just beginning this entrepreneurship journey when I was about to graduate college. And I was quickly realizing that if I wanted to succeed in entrepreneurship, I was going to have to change my ways. Even soon after I graduated, I really had to shift the entire way that I lived my life. And during that time, I had to disengage from a lot of my friends, a lot of the things that I used to constantly engage in. And I remember the great fear coming up at that time. Even though I wanted to succeed in entrepreneurship, the great fear used to come that, like, oh my God, if I change my life in this way and I start to leave this and do that and start focusing my energy here, am I going to lose all my friends? Am I going to lose this? Am I going to lose this personality aspect of this? And like literally all my life, one of the things that I wanted most was to be like the social person, because like I was pretty antisocial throughout most of my childhood. So when I went to college, that completely changed. I broke out of my shell and I became one of the most social people. And so my life was entirely filled with, like just friend groups and constantly doing things, going out. And so when I started to go deeper into this, there was a great fear that, oh my God, I'm going to lose a lot of these people. And especially going, like discovering spiritual teachings and learning to disengage from negative people still brought up a lot of fear in me that I will lose out on something. This was my first encounter with the fear of losing, you know? And here's the thing. Every single time this fear arises, if you just trust in life and you just continue to do your best to go deeper into whatever is already pulling you in, you soon see that nothing changes. So in this example, I saw that as I continued to focus my energies in the way that I knew was right for me at that time, even though this fear was arising, I did continue to succeed in entrepreneurship. I did continue to start, creating the life I really truly wanted to create at that time. And sure, some friends really did leave my life. Some, even family members really did leave my life. I really disengaged from a lot of the older ways of being and living. However, nothing of value was lost. If anything, I began to realize that you don't ever really lose anything. Things just are replaced with often things that are better, things that require less energy to maintain. So this was my first taste of this. Now later on, I started to go a little deeper into this teaching. Like I remember the beginning of this journey for me was just a lot of those empowerment and manifestation teachings. And then as I continued to as I encountered self-inquiry, Ramana's teachings, as I continued to go deeper into that, there was a great fear that arose and resistance that arose to the teachings of surrender, letting go of desires and fears. And this was very, very threatening for me, because what I built throughout my time in entrepreneurship and in the manifestation teaching was this very, very passionate personality, very hardworking, very focused energy, very full of intention, focused intention. And now I was coming across a teaching which was, it felt appropriate at that time and I was ready for it. However, still this great fear was arising that what I just tried so hard, I literally changed my character from like lazy, from, distracted and disoriented, to like a focused, like what society pretty much praises, a person that society praises, hardworking, focused, doing well. So I had built up this strong ego. I'd built up this powerful ego, positive ego, but like a powerful, strong ego. And now there was a great fear of losing that. There was a great fear of like, if I start to let go of a lot of my desire, start to let go of attachment to, doing certain things in a planned way at the exact time that I want, all the structured way of living, what would start to happen? How will life turn out? Am I going to lose am I going to lose my business? Am I going to lose my lifestyle? Am I going to lose this and that? So all the same sort of fear of loss manifesting in a different way. Previously, I was afraid of losing friends and my old social lifestyle. This time, I started to fear, am I going to lose my amazing personality and work ethic and this manifestation ability and all that stuff, which I felt so real at that time, that I felt like I worked for. But still, something within me always trusted what was arising in my experience. And because I was coming across these deeper teachings, and there was always a great trust in them, there was always a great resonance. Ever since the beginning, when I just encountered the simplest spiritual book, the reason I sort of experienced the teachings was because I had great trust in them, and I did everything that I could to apply them to my life and took the biggest risks and always went all in on myself, just trusting life. And so I did the same here as well. I truly did start to follow the teaching. And again, I saw the same thing. Nothing of value was lost. If anything, I began to become open and started to understand that a strong ego is itself almost as destructive as a weak ego, of self-pity and victimhood. Whereas this itself is also sort of dysfunctional. And although it has its relevance at a certain point in your life to empower yourself, empower your person, I began to understand that in order to go deeper into this teaching and to really start to understand myself at an essential level, I must start to look past this personality that I was so attached to, these character traits and this lifestyle that I was so attached to. And I did. And I started to truly realize that much of the dysfunctional energies and the attachments and the identifications and the wrong ideas that I still had, that were still limiting me, that was still pulling me into desire and fear constantly, were let go of. Whereas nothing of value was lost. If anything, my life became more peaceful, more joyful, more loving, more enjoyable, And so here's another example where now also this trust started to build even more, where I now trusted life that, okay, anytime this fear arises of loss, and I'm just sharing with you the major examples. This happens constantly with any little thing. This fear continues to arise. But at that time, I had built a trust that, okay, whenever this arises, simply trust and move forward, and the fear itself will dissipate. And what it's projecting that you will lose, it's most often not true. So I will give you the last example. So when I did start to go deeper into this teaching, and I got to a point where, I was doing the manifestation program, the coaching program, the course, the manifestation videos, but something no longer desired to talk about that topic. Something only now wants to speak about this. It feels like the only thing worth speaking of, and it feels like the greatest service to really put this forth. And it's just what I truly enjoy now. So, at that time, I started to wanted to create a shift in this channel. And then a great fear arose that, like, if you just shift to this teaching, you're going to lose your audience. You're going to lose your subscribers, or you're going to lose, then the business itself, like the program's going to start doing poorly as well. So all these fears started to arise as well. This time I already had that trust. I just felt that resonance. And also, I've gotten to a point now where it's like, if I'm not truly enjoying life moment by moment, day by day, if I'm not living according to my resonance, to my alignment, then it's not worth doing anything for any amount of money, or any amount of love, or any amount of external gratification, self-approval. None of that stuff really truly matters anymore. So when I started to create this shift, I then again started to obviously have some of this fear, but then, it was just no longer, now, fear arises, it's just noticed, allowed to be as it is. It is no longer believed in. Something is not powerful enough to pull you into fear the deeper you go into this teaching. It's just discarded. It's just allowed to be as it is. And as you take your attention away from it, it literally disappears. It no longer bothers you. And its projections no longer have an impact. And I began to see that, the channel still flowed. If anything, now I feel like the audience and I have, like you and I have greater connection. Now we have a more powerful community. Now we are even more grounded in the truth of these teachings. And now we're no longer entertaining, the ego, the mind. We're really working together to sort of see through its contradictions, its dysfunction, and transcending it together. So it's even more beautiful, and nothing was lost again of value. So, to give you a few last words about even so that comment from that mother, fearing that if I go deeper into this teaching, will I lose the ability to love? You know what? I answered to her that this, again, first is recognize that it's just a fear that is arising, seeking to keep you in this contraction, in this identification. First step is recognizing this, because automatically then if you recognize it, then you already don't believe in what it's projecting, because it's always projecting some sort of thing, right? Which is very, very relevant and dear to you, because that's how it pulls you in, because there's great interest and attachment. So I shared with her, the deeper you actually go into this teaching, the more fully you're able to love, the more fully you're able to experience even the highs and the lows of life. So when the normal way of living is like we're constantly clinging on to one half of life and completely resisting and fearful of the other half. And this creates a constant set of highs, which last for very temporary periods of time, and a constant of lows, which last for much longer, and which we love to dwell in somehow. So what actually happens is that the more you start to let go of these sorts of attachments and identifications, and the more silent you become inwardly, as we do on this channel, if you follow this teaching, the more these extreme highs and lows start to neutralize. Now there's still highs and lows, there's still positive and negative, good and bad. However, now you're no longer just attaching yourself to the good and resisting the bad. You're able to experience both fully. You're able to love your children and your family and connect without the constant negative attachments that usually often come with relationships and things like money and things like, so everything just becomes experience, and you're able to be there with it fully and experience it fully, no matter if it's good or bad. It's a living in acceptance of what is. And again, nothing of value is lost. So I wanted to share these few words with you, because this fear will continue to arise the deeper you go into this teaching. And you must realize that this fear is not something you need to entertain, that this fear is just the mind trying so hard to keep you in identification and contraction. Don't believe in it. Trust is essential. And through it, just follow and transcend. Thank you for watching this video. Now, here are a couple of ways that I can be of direct help to you right now. Okay, and I'm going to link everything that I mentioned right now in the description box below. So number one is you can join our free Personal Mastery Quest community, our Facebook group, on which you can interact with me personally and ask me all your questions. I love the community over there and I do my best to reply to you as soon as possible. Okay, number two, if you have not yet watched my free Ego to Presence Masterclass, in which I teach you how to implement the teaching of self-inquiry into your life step by step and deepen your meditation and deepen your self-inquiry profoundly, then again, check the link in the description box below and go watch that masterclass. It is 1 hour. It will bring you tremendous value, okay? And now lastly, if you want to work with me and my team personally, and you want me to help you dissolve mind identification and realize your true being, then you can check out my coaching program, the Higher Consciousness Shift. All the details of it are down below in the description box. Just click the link that is under section coaching, okay, and it'll take you there to my personal website where you can go through all the details and book a free call with me, and we can decide if we're the right fit to work together. That's all for today. I will see you in the next video.